So my job is to work in one hand with the suppliers to prepare the technical solution, the business model, to pass everything through the Avnet Silica processes, I would say. And then my job is to help our customers and my colleagues to provide and to push for those solutions. So the topic of today is going to be the Cyber Resilience Act. This is a hot topic today in the market. And so within the next 30 minutes, we will try to do and to give you a good overview of what is the Cyber Resilience Act, where it's coming from, what is the impact, and what's in. So let's start briefly before a quick introduction about what is a standard, what is a regulation. The CRA, is it a standard? Is it a regulation? From the market, there is some confusion. So I thought it was important also to put this on the slide today. So there is in the market, there is a private sector where the industry is structuring itself with standards to manage new form of risk regarding cybersecurity and to be compliant also with future regulation. The standards are international consensus of experts about how to do some things. Be compliant with a standard is not mandatory. It's voluntary because you want to access to a market, and the market has structured itself around those standards. Whereas on the other hand, we have the public sectors where the governments use regulations to enforce measure and to improve, in that specific case, the cybersecurity of the nation. The regulation is the rules that are made by a government or other kind of authority to control the way something is done and all the way people behave. In the context of the European Union, the regulation is applied in its entirety across EU member states. And the compliance of a regulation is mandatory. So there is no exception here. Everyone that wants to comply with this regulation or wants to access to this market will have to comply with this regulation. The standards, they are used as a guidelines for the regulation. They are written to provide guidance for organizations that are regulated the market. The standard, they are an expression also of the state of the art of any technology. And the standard also can be used when there is a dispute or something like this. There are so many already existing, too far. There are already some regulation in the EU market. The first one, which is probably the most known, is the GDPR. The GDPR aims to protect the EU citizens' personal data. Here, it's not limited to cybersecurity, but obligation to protect the data that has been collected. There is the Radio Equipment Directive as well, and this one also take care about the radio part, but not only. And there is new evolution of this Radio Equipment Directive, where the security also will be including as well. There is the NIS2, Network Infrastructure Information and System Directive, that has been started in 2016. And now there is a new evolution of the NIS, which is the NIS2, that apply to digital service providers. So the NIS2 is more on the, we say, on the server cloud side, whereas the Cyber Resilience Act targets all product with a digital element, so software and hardware. And the Cyber Resilience Act has a broader scope than the RED, even though there is some link between both of them. Now let's go deeper on the European Cyber Resilience Act. Into the European Union, there is a cybersecurity ecosystem. The cybersecurity topic has started since a few years ago within the European Union, and it started with the Cybersecurity Act, which is not the same of the Cyber Resilience Act. The Cybersecurity Act has been created in 2019. It's a legal framework for certification in Europe. It empowers also the ENISA as the central certification body, and it's enforcing new cybersecurity certification scheme. The Cybersecurity Act is in the middle of many acts that you can see in Europe. The most known are the CHIPS Act, the AI Act, the Solidarity Act, and the NIS2. So the Cybersecurity Act is in the middle of all of those things. And why now the European Union goes into the CRA is the motivation, the following motivation. The first one is that there is a rise of threats in the market. We have all seen crazy things around devices being hacked, cars, camera, sensors, whatever. So here it's a real situation where the threats are growing in the market. There is a second point which is related to, I would say, more mature vertical like medical, automotive that are already strong in terms of cyber security. But nowadays there are many devices that can come and connect with those existing devices, which has already a good security level. But if you connect something which do not have a good cyber security level, then you inject some threat into those already well designed vertical, I would say. The Cybersecurity Act is not binding. The reason why is because it provides only tools for cybersecurity assessment, but it does not impose any certification. So if we ask here how many people knew about the Cybersecurity Act 6 2019, maybe few, you, well done, but few of you might be aware of this. Now, with the Cyber Resilience Act, the European Union wants to impose requirements on manufacturers, on OEM, original equipment manufacturers. The EUCC, which is a certification scheme from the CRA, is generic. Again, it does not impose a static list of requirements, and it relies only on protection profile and so on, so which is not enough at all. So now, what's the CRA? So the CRA, it's a legal framework called EU Cyber Resilience Act. This EU Cyber Resilience Act will ensure that any digital element placed on the EU market will have fewer vulnerabilities. With the Cyber Resilience Act, the European Union wants to achieve two goals. The first one is to make all the OEMs aware about what they are doing in terms of development, and mainly on the security side. And we will see how they are doing this, but it's also important that the OEMs knows what they are doing, what security level they are implementing, and how they are doing it. And on the other end, we have the user, the customers. It's the Cyber Resilience Act intent also to give visibility, transparency about how this device, how this digital element has been designed, which rules he has followed, which assessment he has done, and so on. So it's on two ways, this Cyber Resilience Act. And obviously, it also improves the customer and business protection against many devices that can come from other regions in the world with cheaper price, cheaper stuff. So it's also a way for the EU, the European Union, to protect their companies into the market by imposing a certain level of security. And this EU will oblige any company from wherever this company is coming from to have this in place. So it's also a way to, again, protect the business. The Cyber Resilience Act defines also an harmonized rules for placing a device on the EU market. It's essential, obviously, to ensure a certain cyber security level. The Cyber Resilience Act also rely on some EU standards to facilitate its implementation. You will see that there is nothing new in this Cyber Resilience Act. We are not talking about new cryptography technology. We are not talking about new chipset, whatever. It's only good practices using what exists and implementing it. Prove that you have done it, and that's it. Obviously, I'm not talking about too much about the NIS2 since it's not the topic of today, but there are some interaction between both of them. Since the NIS2 is more on the server side, cloud side, but the digital elements have some relationship with them. So there is some interaction as well. So the Cyber Resilience Act is a new and ambitious European Union regulation. It has started in 2022, and it sets some requirements regarding cybersecurity. It's applicable to nearly everything that can run software, device, component, whatever. The thing is that since this regulation will be mandatory, the EU also has to pay some fines, some penalties, as the same magnitude than the GDPR. Otherwise, no one will follow this regulation. The fines that are mentioned so far by the European Union is up to 15 million euros if you cannot comply with this, or 2.5% of the annual turnover. So it's going to be something serious if you are not in line with this. So let's go deeper on the CRA. What's in? I think the three, I would say, three main points are the first one. It's a sentence that is extracted from the CRA itself. Product with digital elements shall be delivered without any non-exploitable vulnerabilities. This is a game changer in the market. Why? Because we have many companies, many customers where their first target is, okay, I need to launch my product. I need to connect my product. So which technology I will use, whatever. I need to launch my product. And the cybersecurity, I will see this later. I will place it. This will never work anymore. If you have vulnerabilities, non-vulnerabilities, you are out of the scope of the CRA. And moreover, if you use products that have some vulnerabilities, and we already know that as of today on the EU market, on the electronic market, I will not mention their name, but there is some cheap Wi-Fi module that are already out of the scope. So every customer that is using those cheap Wi-Fi module will be out of the scope of the CRA because this product has been hacked and it's an hardware fix that has to be done. So it's important also to understand this, that the cybersecurity will have to be taken into consideration at the very beginning. Since few years, we are talking about security by design, and so now it's a reality. We need to take care of this at the very beginning. The other point that will have a big impact is the documentation. Again, the CRA intend to provide transparency to the user. So you, as an OEM, you will have to take care about the documentation. And the documentation is which kind of software you're using, open source, closed source. You will have to do a risk assessment. So you will have to assess your product, the way you have designed your product. And this is probably the biggest impact. You will have to do a software bill of material, an hardware bill of material. And also you will need to have a proper security breach disclosure mechanism. This is also something that the CRA implies, where when you have a security breach, you have a certain period of time to declare this security breach. You have another period of time to fix this security breach. So it's all written. The other thing that will have also a big impact is the OTA upgrade mechanism. OTA also, it's something that we are talking about since a few years in the IoT market. But okay, when we are talking about LoRaWAN networks and NB-IoT networks, OTA can be tricky. So here we are not talking about the technology that you are using to do your OTA. It could be wired, wireless, we don't care. What we want to achieve is that you need to be able to upgrade your security scheme inside your device over the time, over the product life cycle. And this has to be secured also. So this is huge impact. Again, it's not something new. There is technology, mechanism to do it. But again, if we take into consideration the connectivity market as of today, yes, we could have some challenges over there. And afterwards, it's good practices. You need to authenticate your devices. Whatever the mechanism you are using, token, one-way authentication, mutual authentication, we don't care. You have to authenticate it. You have to manage the identity also of your devices. Public key infrastructure, certification, certificate revocation, and so on. You need to manage the access also of your device. You need to protect the integrity of the stored and the transmitted data. So the CRA also does not impose any use of secure elements, secure MCU, whatever. You do whatever you want. But when you need to protect the integrity of the stored data, using an MCU without any protection on the flash, risky. The same for the confidentiality. You have to protect the confidentiality of the stored and transmitted data. So again, there is mechanism to do it. It's not new, but you have to take care of this. Now let's focus more on the risk assessment because this is one of the biggest impact. The European Union classify products over 3 categories, I would say. There is the default category where 90% of the product will fall under. So here there is a list, which is obviously not an exhaustive list. I really encourage you to go on the CRA itself. On the annex, you have, I would say, more exhaustive. It's not exhaustive, fully exhaustive, but you have more exhaustive list of devices. There is critical class 1 and critical class 2. So the default one will have to do self-assessment. So on your own, you will have to do an attack tree where the attackers can come, what I have put in place to answer to this, against what I am protecting myself and against what I am not protecting myself because it doesn't make sense. You will have to document this. On the class 1, either you apply to a standard or you will have to go to a third-party assessment. And on the class 2, here there is no choice. So if you are doing operating system, industrial firewalls, CPUs, secure element, then there is no choice. You have to go to a third party and assess the cyber security measure that you have put in place. Sorry, this slide is not that good, but I just wanted to show that it has been quite quick on the evolution of the CRA. It started in May 2022, and now we are here. So the Parliament vote has happened, and the adoption will arrive within September, October. There are already some certification that exist in the market. What I want to show by this slide is that if you are using some products that are already certified, then you have already a good step in that CRA journey. So yes, there are CESIP, there are PSA certified products, EMVCO, and so on. So try to use products that are already certified. It will ease your life consequently. So now, what can we do out of this? First of all, there is no single company that can answer to all of this. Neither Avnet, neither whomever. There is too many things that cannot solve everything. So here I will talk a bit about our value proposition and also the one that we can bring with our partners. And one of them is Witekio, a daughter company. So the first recommendation I would say is read the CRA. Might be stupid, but it takes a bit of time, but read it. I have put the link here. So then, because it's not that easy to find the right document. There are so many links when you do type CRA that are not good at all. Then you need to identify your product classes and your compliance strategy. So here, Witekio, which is a software design house, and Avnet Silica could help you to do it. You have to do a risk assessment and threat analysis. You have also to identify afterwards the proper security measure. And then you need also to define and set up your vulnerability posture, disclosure, and resolution. Then you need to have the right software bill of material and the right hardware bill of material. And this is where actors like Avnet or other, but like Avnet, we can help you. We are in the middle of all the big names that you are seeing here, Renesas, ST, Microchip, and so on. So we know what they can do. We know where they are good, where they are not, which fit with your application, which not. And this is our role as a distributor. And last but not least, you have to define your production strategy. And this is where Avnet Silica, we are also focusing ourselves. Because, okay, you can put a good X509 certificate, good private keys, public keys in your device. But when are you doing it? How are you doing it? Also, this has to be documented. And this is where also we are focusing ourselves. So we have three solutions. We have one in our facility where we have a machine, production machines, provisioning machine, where we are passing the components through the machine, and we are connecting this machine to external services, external PKIs from Keyfactor, Edgelog2Go, from external services like ST and Renesas. Also, you can do it. It can be too early to do at Avnet Silica, but you may want to do it on your production line. But still, you need to have a secure way to provide certificate and keys. So here we are working with a partner called Trusted Object that can deliver a black box that you plug on your testing line or production line to deliver the right certificate and the right keys at the right device. The other option is in the field. We are seeing more and more late personalization or in-field personalization. So here, there is no personalization done at any step before. Everything is done in the field. So there is a small agent in the device. Then when the device power up, it goes and talks directly to this service and gets its credential afterwards. So it's also a possibility. Here there are some limitations, obviously, depending on which technology you are using, the availability of this connectivity technology and so on. But there is pros and cons on each of them. And again, our aim is not to oblige you to use one of them, is to provide you a solution, whatever the scheme you want to use. And on the other end, we have Witekio, our daughter company, that could help you upfront. So Witekio is a software design house, and they are providing cybersecurity workshop to initiate also, to do a kind of overview about where you are, what you want to achieve, what needs to be done afterwards. They can provide you some fast track Linux also to accelerate your development, and they provide you also some Linux long-term maintenance. When it comes to the cybersecurity workshop, it's quite interesting. It's 1 month with a Witekio expert to help you to select the right proper security level, to build a security target, to list also the security objective that you want to have, and to enable also the first step of methodology. They have some product around this, and CVA scan, which is quite interesting to detect the vulnerabilities also about your software. That's quite important. And then they have other tools to help you in that software journey. So thank you. And if you want to know more, I have only 30 minutes here, but tomorrow we as Avnet Silica, we are organizing a CRA event the whole day in Stevenage.